Oh,
We
my.
we had to borrow my granddaughter's Zoom because we couldn't figure it out. So
Oh, you're doing great.
yeah, we got it now. So
Nice to meet you. So how did you know St. Luke?
we had Luke, my aunt. My mom was Anne.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. It's great.
There, I've renamed you.
There you go.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody. We're so glad you are here. At this time, I'm going to mute you all, and we ask that you please remain muted until until the portion of our evening that we share. So, again, welcome. It is so good and right that we should gather to remember our dear sister, St. Luke. This evening, you are going to be invited to sing and pray and share memories in whatever way is most comfortable for you. Before we get started, I'm just going to tell you about a few things if you just come on, we are recording our gathering this night. And to minimize our background noise and make things easier to hear all of our speakers, we have muted all your microphones. The most important button that you need to know about tonight is your mute button. And it actually, when you want to unmute, if you want to share a story, you actually hit the mute button. I'll call on you as we go through our evening for that. But you are highly encouraged to please sing and pray along, even though you are muted. We're so grateful that you have all come tonight. So let us take a moment to pray in silent prayer.
Watch, O Lord, with all those awake this night. Watch, O Lord, with all those who weep. Give your angels and saints charge over all who sleep. Watch, O Lord, with all those awake this night. Watch, O Lord, with all those who weep. Give your angels and saints charge over all who sleep. Watch, O Lord, with all those awake this night. Watch, O Lord, with all those who weep. Give your angels and saints charge over all who sleep.
Let us pray. God of love, we praise you and we thank you for this opportunity to gather. We thank you for the gift of our dear sister, St. Luke, passionate teacher, dear friend, beloved sister, lover of beauty and travel, playing cards, the twins, the Knicks, lover of politics, and cooking for the friends she loved, proponent of educating our young ones, of teaching the gift of reading to adults, of the safety, welcome, and well-being of immigrants, and of communities working together in love and solidarity. We thank you for this time to sing and remember, to grieve and support one another. Be with us, O God, this night, and watch over all who may be weeping. Give your angels and your saints charge over all who sleep. And we ask this prayer in the name of all that is good and holy, and let the community say, Amen. At this time, all are invited to share a story or a memory of St. Luke. You can raise your hand in your screen, or if you're very clever, like some, use your reaction button, and I'll know when to call on you. So as I call on you, then we'll ask you to unmute. As we do share our stories, we'll be singing a short refrain, and actually we'll begin with the refrain. So let us pray and begin.
Quietly, peacefully, may she rest in you. Quietly, peacefully, bring her home to you.
Linda Taylor.
Well, I have a story. I didn't know Sister St. Luke before I moved into the Copeland village. And so I just didn't know her. That's it. And so across the hall from me, Agnes Eiten was my neighbor. And the other thing is, before I moved here, I fed birds a lot. I just loved it and had all these different kinds. And so when I moved to the village, I wanted to feed them here. And somebody said, if you want to feed birds, maybe you better talk to your downstairs neighbor. And just kind of be friendly and say, this is what you'd like to do, and just let you know if it needs anything cleaned up or what. So I didn't know who my downstairs neighbor was. It was Sister St. Luke. And so we didn't know each other at all. And I went down, knocked on her door, told her what I wanted to do. And there wasn't much change in her face, except maybe a little not looking happy. And I thought, uh-oh. So I said, well, you know, if there's any mess on your porch, your balcony, just let me know and I'll come clean it off. Kind of solemn, okay, not sure, you know, kind of, at least that was my interpretation. So I got my bird feeders out and was all happy. And things were going along okay. So I thought, well, I'd invite Sister Agnes Eiten to go eat at this Chinese restaurant she liked. And then I thought, we should invite one of her friends to go too, in case we don't have a whole lot to say each other, you know. So her friend is Sister St. Luke. So I said to Agnes, you know, I'll just be happy to pay your way. And then when I saw Sister St. Luke, I said the same thing, you know, this would be on me. I'm really happy to pay her way. And she stood there and just kind of thought, looked at me and she said, I'll pay my way. That way I can still complain if I want to. I just enjoyed that. We really, you know, got to enjoy each other, but it was a little surprising at the time.
Thanks, Linda. Susan, did you want to share? You're muted.
Yes. Well, I knew St. Luke in grade school. She was at St. Thomas the Apostle. She never taught me, and she didn't teach anybody in my family, but she was part of this wonderful group of nuns that were just so alive and so fun. And that's how I know her. And when I moved into Cronlet Village, we had wonderful visits. And when we visited and met each other in the hall, we reminisced about St. Thomas the Apostle and the days of St. Thomas the Apostle, which were happy ones for her. And they were very happy ones for me. So we didn't have big conversations about what we believed about anything or how we saw the world, but we had this great, very warm connection whenever we met, for which I am very grateful. And I always loved her. She was a great teacher at St. Thomas and was part of a great community there.
Thanks. Mike? You just need to unmute.
Okay, did I unmute?
You did.
Okay. Well, my fondest memories or memories in general are going to go back over 50 years ago with Luke. So I remember, well, first of all, Easters. We lived in a small town of Buffalo. Luke was down at one of the convents and schools. And every Easter, we would all get all dressed up in our hats and our, all of our different get ups at the time of the, our ages. And we went down to take Luke out for Easter dinner, but we also got to go to, I think it was St. Michael's school where she was principal. And we had run of the school. It was Sunday, it was closed, and we got to go in the gym and do everything we wanted to do. And so that was a lot of fun. I remember Luke from that a lot. And then as I aged a little bit, it turned into the fishing thing that you mentioned with Luke. Every year, one of her brothers, John, would come out to the Buffalo area and rent a cabin. And one day I would always get to go fishing with them, but then another day they would have family fishing. And Luke would come out and join the rest of the family, and John would take her fishing, catch lots of panfish, have fish fry, etc. So she really enjoyed that. And I think that lasted for several years, doing that. But then I kind of became into my teenage years, and while I still kept in touch with Luke, I didn't see her all that often. But I do recall one of the last and most funniest things, I guess, for me is Luke, my mom, and my other Aunt Lel, who they used to give my dad and my Uncle Al all kinds of fits playing cards. They would be laughing and chuckling and just get after those guys. And it was the funniest thing with them to watch the three sisters gang up. So that was one of the things that actually, when she passed, that I talked to my wife about, that's what they're all doing right now, So with my mom just passing last year, Lel's been up there for years, and now Luke's up there. Fortunately, Uncle Al's still with us. He's down in Texas with Margie and Glenn, and Margie will maybe tell you, I think he's 94-ish, something like that, and he's doing well. So, but the rest of those guys, I'm sure they were having a big card party with the gals ganging up on the guys up there. So, Luke was my only remaining survivor on that side of the family, and I only have one left on my dad's side. So she was pretty special, and there's not many of them left.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Mary? You need to unmute.
There we go. Sorry about that. I'm Mike's little sister, Mary. I'm Ann's daughter. Share a lot of the same, I share those same memories that Mike just shared. But I have a few extra too. I was the youngest niece out of our three families, Lil's family, our family, and well, Luke, I consider her a family, I guess. And I was the baby, and I don't really remember this, but I remember hearing about this. My mom was a great singer, and I too sing, and we went, like Mike said, Easter time or every so often. That was a long trip to go down to St. Buffalo. It was a whole hour and a half,
Oops.
We go down to the, and I probably 2.5 or so. It was so weddings and a church and everything, and I knew every word to Ave Maria at the age of 2. So there's a recording floating around in our family somewhere of me at St. Michael's Convent. So that's really not a memory, but a story about one of us, of our visits down there. I remember going down there and having the run of the school. I was a assistant teacher when at St. Michael's when I was probably 9 or 10 years old. My mom and dad would oftentimes take little long weekends, or well, maybe not often, but probably once a year. And they didn't trust me to stay home with my older brother and sister. So I either went to my Aunt Lil's house for a few days, or I went to the convent for a few days. So I got the pleasure of helping Sister Joel teach 1st grade and Sister Jean teach 2nd grade. And we did lots of fun little projects. I remember one time the sisters made a plaster cast of my face at the convent. They took plaster bandages and put it over my face. I had that hanging in my room for years. I sewed with the sisters, and I remember weaving palms on Palm Sunday in the convent. So I was a outer at the age of about 9 or 10. And then I too became a teacher. I taught at St. Timothy's in Maple Lake for a couple of years, and Sister St. Luke and some of the other sisters, Sister Jean, and I don't remember which other sisters came out to see me and see my classroom the day before school started. They brought me a teddy bear. That was my classroom mascot for my years that I was teaching. And then I didn't leave, but I moved out to California for a few years. Kind of spread my wings and flew on my own. And then when I came back to Minnesota, my mom and Sister St. Luke and some of the nuns that she was living with in apartment 4 had started a routine of going up north to Bill's lake home. Bill, I can't remember Bill's last name. I know.
Mary, we've lost you. So we're going to sing and then we'll come back.
Lulu, 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 quietly, peacefully, may she rest in you. Quietly, peacefully, bring her home to you.
So I just want to remind folks to keep muted, and I will call on you. Connie.
I didn't know Sister St. Luke when she was principal at St. Michael's because I came after her. But all the teachers there, and I see one of them on here tonight, Mary Ann Stevens, she could probably add something more personal. But she always wanted me to tell her what was happening there and to keep in touch with everyone that was there. And when teachers would come to visit, we would include her in the gatherings. And she just was so much a part of the place. They loved her and she loved them.
Thanks, Connie. Mary Fran.
Yes, I just knew St. Luke from afar for many years because I just admired her as an educator. If I saw her at meetings or something, she was always so happy that a younger person, was in education. Now, of course, I'm not very young, but that was in that day. And I'd meet her at meetings and she was always coming over and talking and stuff. But then when I retired and I went to be a receptionist at Carondelet Center, she was living in the famous apartment 4 up there with the characters. And then I really enjoyed her so much. She would come down and we delighted in stories together. And I could just tell when you family members were talking, I know how much it meant to her. And all the excursions she and Denny and Roseanne and that crowd would take, they were always coming up with something. And if they couldn't play cards or find somebody, but so then I also, with the Fox relatives and Bill Foussard and that crowd, I would see her, we would be together at parties and enjoy each other. But what a delightful woman. And she just always had time to sit and talk a little. But, she was just an alive person who gave so much to education, which in her own quiet way. And I think that's so something I've always been inspired by.
Thank you. Bernadette, actually, that's Mary Fran. Mary Fran, you have to unmute.
I lived with St. Luke for at least 4 years at St. Mike's on the Hill. And I came at a funny time, and because it was October, and usually you move in June. And anyway, the Holy Father was coming to Iowa, and they wanted me to come with them. And I said, well, I haven't really made plans because I didn't save any money, or you have to ask for money and you have to save it. So Father Dudley calls me up and said, now this was the very day I got there at St. Michael's. He said, you're coming with us to see the Holy Father. And I said, oh no, I can't do that. And I think it was St. Luke that urged him on to have me come too. And I said, I can't afford to go. I haven't got any money. And he said, oh, don't worry about that. I'm paying for the bus and for whatever the sisters need. And so I was fortunate to get in on that. But I also want to tell you that St. Luke was a great friend of Father Dudley's. And on Sunday afternoon, he come over and his assistant, and they come and they play. They have dinner in our dining room, and then they'd play cards for hours on end in the dining room after we cleaned the table off. And it was just a delight to see how much fun they were having. I didn't know too much about the card game they were playing. It was pinochle. I learned it later, but they loved to play cards. And St. Luke was a wonderful person, very inclusive. She always, like if something was going on at the school, she'd always invite me over to, like if they were having a guest speaker for the faculty, she'd always invite me over. See, I was the cook for the sisters, and that's why she felt like I should come and be a part of it. And any parties they had, or any breakfasts, we'd go out to breakfast together with the faculty, and she'd always call over and say, be sure to come now. And I thought that was wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'm going to share a quick story. So when I first started working with the sisters, and then we'll have Joan Groshen share. But when I first started working with the sisters, I got a call from St. Luke, and I did not know her yet. She called and she said, "Hey, Lori, would you please come over? Can we make up an appointment for you to come over and so that I can order some clothes?" Now, as a pleaser that I am, I said, "Sure, of course, I can come over and help you order clothes." So I went over, we ordered the clothes online, did everything together and checked out everything. And at the end of the whole, event, she looks at me and she goes, "I don't really think this is part of your job, is it?" And we both just started laughing. But from that point forward, we had just a really lovely connection. And I don't think it would have been there if she hadn't have reached out to me. So I'm ever grateful for knowing such a wonderful woman.
No.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Sister Rosalind, and Sister St. Luke and I live I always called it across the street, but it's really across the aisle on independent living. So we spend lots of time together, and she would call me and she would say, "I've got extra grapes, would you like them? I've got some fish I'm not eating, would you take some?" And of course, I would call her and we did the same thing and we spent little time together. And then she was moved down to independent assisted living, which I was not very happy at all, nor was she, because we were good friends and we just felt we wanted to be good friends up there. However, when she moved down here, we would not change we would still say, "Hey, sister," we'd call each other on the phone. "I've got some grapes." Somehow she had grapes quite a bit. So I always got some grapes from her, and whatever I had with her. So we shared a lot. And then occasionally we had a little pizza party, she and I and one of her lay friends. And of course, the nice thing was we could complain to each other. Sometimes you don't want to complain out loud to anybody else, but it was okay when we complained to each other. We just knew it wasn't perfect, believe it or not. Now, what I say, I'm in the bird cage, and I still say things are not perfect. I know everything's perfect with me, but not everything's perfect around here. And Sister St. Luke, when she fell, she went to the care center, and of course, once she came back from the hospital, we were talking 2, 3, 4 times during the day. She called me, I called her, and then she had to go back, and we had conversations in between that time. And one of the things we talked about was, now, I said to her, "When you die, do you want to be anointed?" And she said, "Yes. In fact, I felt so bad. I was down there in the hospital dying, and I was not anointed." And I said, "Well, whichever one of us dies first, the one that's left is going to make sure the other one would be anointed." And that's what happened. I just wanted someone so beautiful to walk into heaven. She was always beaming. She was a beautiful woman. So she was physically beautiful, but she was beautiful as a person. Her soul was beautiful. So anyway, I called 4 priests and they were all busy. So I left messages. However, and one of my friends called and he said, "Oh, I just got your message. Where is sister?" So I told him, and he quickly went down to the hospital, anointed her. When she walked in, she said, "Oh, Sister Rosalind told you to come." And she said all the prayers with him as he was anointing her. And then she was so grateful. And then the next day, of course, is when she died. So all I can say is my heart is just so happy and at peace, because I know such a beautiful woman walked right into heaven. And I just want the world to know, and especially people who live here who knew her, what a beautiful, beautiful woman Sister St. Luke was. And the nice thing, again, as I say, is we could complain to each other about what was going on in our lives, and it was all right. So all I ask is that I know she walked in and she is now with all her family and all those who love her, love us, and especially being with Jesus. Amen. Thank you.
Lori, you're muted.
Sorry. Glenn, then I think we have Anne wanted to share, and then Kevin.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're good.
Well, we have lots of stories to tell, but one that I love was, Mary Jane talks about how she stayed, Mary stayed at the convent with Luke. Well, my two sons had a sleepover, and they were probably 3 and 5, and you think, well, Luke is going to have color a picture of the Blessed Mother or teach them to make a rosary, or no. They came home with royal crown bags full of pennies because she taught them how to play Jewish poker. This is when she was at St. Michael's, and there was just a wonderful group of nuns at that time. It was Mary Jo and Wilma and Izzy,
Really?
Sita, Carolyn, anyway, my kids thought they were all their aunts. They loved them. And I can't tell any more stories right now.
Well, let me tell one. The last time we took Sister out, she said she had to do mission work. And I asked where she wanted to go. And she said the casino. And so we went to the casino and we played, and we lost all the money we had, and we had receipts for just pennies on the dollar. And I said, well, give them all to Sister. I'll go get the car. It's time to go home. So I'm waiting in the parking lot, and after about 20 minutes, I go into the casino, and I said, what's going on? And they said, she's having a winning streak and she doesn't want to leave. And so we stayed there for another hour before she cashed out.
Oh, it's just so many stories. All the nuns would come like to my mom's or to Aunt Anne's, and they'd have spaghetti and pie and of course play cards. And I don't know if any of you knew Sister Isidore at St. Michael's. When my second son was like 2, she says, can I give him a little bit of this blueberry pie? Oh, sure. Well, she ends up feeding the whole piece of pie to John. He had a blue hiney for a week. It's just, Luke was a delight. I can remember the first time that she could stay at our house when she had first joined. And she took off the first layer, the first black veil, and folded it real neat. around a piece of cardboard and stuck it under the mattress. And then, my gosh, she had hair. She was like a regular person out of this big black outfit. There was a real person underneath. And it was, I don't know. She was a delight.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Anne, Deal, and then Kevin, and then Patricia.
I was just going to mention someone whose hand you seem to be missing, but you called on them, so that's it.
Okay. Kevin, you can unmute.
Okay, I have a story about Luke. Everyone's, can you hear me?
We can, but we lost your beautiful face.
Oh, that's okay.
No, it's not.
All of a sudden I have just a white figure. What did we do?
I don't know. But anyway, I want you to hear my story. Every once in a while, Luke would have me get her 6 little ponies. And the week before she fell, I got them for her, and I'm feeling guilty. I'm not telling anybody. She probably drank those ponies and fell, and I was really feeling guilty. And for those of you that don't know what a pony is, it's a little bottle of beer that's just fits in a glass. And so I wasn't going to tell anybody that I got those, and that's why she fell. But yesterday, I was relieved, because when they cleaned her room, they brought me all 6 little ponies. So I wasn't the cause of her falling.
Get our face back.
Thank you for that confession.
Yes. Okay.
Patricia, we invite you to unmute and share.
Here, you.
Patricia? Well, maybe she's figuring out how to unmute, and while she does, we'll sing.
Quietly, peacefully, may she rest in you. Quietly, peacefully, bring her home to you.
Thanks, Kathleen. Patricia, would you like to share? Maybe that was an accident. Are there others who might want to share? Linda.
Yeah, 2 things I wanted to remember St. Luke about is her great love of Waverly, Minnesota, where she grew up. So that meant a lot to her. And when I lived with Roseanne and St. Luke for a short time, we heard Waverly stories. It was great to hear St. Luke and Sister John Ellen talk about Waverly together. And then the other thing is also I had opportunity when the tutoring program for learning English was on the 2nd floor of Crondelet Center. The impact and the long-term relationships that the sisters, and especially St. Luke that I knew about, had with those women that were coming, and some men came too. So it really was quite a, there was learning another language, but there was a strong relationship with those people that were part of that program.
Thanks, Linda. Mary Fran, you'll need to unmute. Here, who's that? Oh, she's not getting through.
Oh. I was just thinking of her darling laugh. She had that cute little chuckle that, and when you mentioned those students, former students of hers from that class, I remember when they'd come in and she had that cute laugh that would just stay with me. And I've been thinking about it as people have talked. I could just hear her playing cards and having a great time. A real gift.
Thank you. Linda. You're still muted, Linda.
It flipped over. Okay, well, if Patricia Floyd was a great friend of the people in apartment 4, and if she doesn't get to, isn't able to get through, I just want to mention her. She helped with arranging a wonderful space in apartment 4. And once we got over here, she really put together St. Luke's apartment along with Roseanne Fox, but also St. Luke had other moves in the building, and there was Patricia arranging things the way that would work well in whatever place that St. Luke was moving to. And of course, they both, I think Patricia, you said this, the last place she moved down the care center, about the size of a shoebox. So it just was, Patricia has just been such a big part of the life of Roseanne and St. Luke's. And it'll be a loss because Patricia and St. Luke used to talk every week together. So,
yeah, thank you. Now there's a person on an iPhone that keeps unmuting. So if you would like to share, you can unmute.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, wonderful.
You're echoing.
I so apologize to you all. My computer isn't working properly, so I resorted to doing the iPhone. Am I echoing?
It's okay.
Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm who she was just speaking about. I'm Patricia, and I always tease about how I am their designer because that's what I do for a living. I'm an interior designer, and I've been with Sister Roseanne. Is there something I can do to stop this? Leave. Okay.
No, can you close your computer?
Okay, now I think okay. Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Oh, you can hear me?
Perfect.
Oh, good. All right. I'm so sorry about that. But anyway, I've known Sister Roseanne since at least 2006. I've been with her and Sister St. Dennis and Sister Luke and of course, Sister Linda. And oh, I'm so sorry. My heart breaks because I miss Luke so much. She was such a doll. And I just spoke with her. I got the opportunity of speaking with her for over an hour a week ago Sunday. And we had such a nice chat, as we always did. And she's in heaven now, and she can see and she can hear, and she's with all her wonderful friends and family. And thank you for Linda, of course, telling me about this and keeping me in the loop. But you ladies who live at Carondelet probably have heard off and on about, because I'm looking at Connie and I'm looking at your apartment, and it's similar to all the apartments. And I always, like I said, moved her in out of this apartment and into the next apartment and into the next apartment. In fact, I don't know how many of you were in the big move when we came across from Bethany over to to the plywood across the way with the walkers and the wheelchairs and over to Carondelet for the very first time. Oh my goodness, it was like unbelievable. And Sister Dennis particularly was so upset. She was so upset. And Sister Luke, we were all there together doing it, getting everybody in their own apartment. And because I'm an interior designer, I said, don't you worry, ladies, I'm going to get your places all fixed up and they're going to be all beautiful. And you're going to be so happy. And it took a while because it was such a big change for everybody. But oh my, they ended up being very happy. And of course, you know, Sister Roseanne and Sister St. Dennis and Sister Luke and now Sister Linda, of course, we were all such a team and have gone through so many different levels of their lives at the end, because you all have had the pleasure of knowing St. Luke much longer ago than I. But oh my, what a trip she was. What a wonderful woman. And you know, she felt a certain way about certain things and she let you know it, but that's okay because you knew where you stood. And what a sweetheart. And we used to, like Rosalind said, Sister Rosalind, we'd have pizza together and talk politics and talk all sorts of wonderful things and talk about everything under the sun. Rosalind is a good friend and she's very lucky to have her. And I know Roz is very as heartbroken as we all are. But again, I can't say I miss her because I'm so happy that she's no longer suffering and that she's in heaven and she can see and she can hear. And God is taking good care of her. So thank you so much for letting me join this. I'm sorry I was having technical problems.
Okay, thank you.
Quietly, peacefully, may she rest in you. Quietly, peacefully, bring her home to you.
And as we prepare to do our leave taking and our blessing, I want to thank you all so much for coming and for sharing your heartwarming stories. I just want to remind you all that St. Luke's funeral mass is on next Tuesday. It's January 26th at 11 a.m. in Our Lady of the Presentation Chapel. Keep watching the rapid relays. And if you want to come as sisters in the community, you need to kind of let me know so we can keep a good, accurate count during this time of COVID. So as you're able, I would invite you all to join in our closing blessing.
As we go now from this moment, as we leave behind our time together, may we walk with one another, may we help each other on the way. As we go now from this moment,
I have to include that little permissions for our live broadcasts. Please unmute and wish each other well, wish each other peace. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Hi, Mary Ann Stevens.
Beautiful stories. I
You
don't
can't say
care
goodbye.
about all of this.
Peace
That's
and blessings. And thank you
Yeah,
all.
they can hear us. my friend.
Blessings.
Okay.
The family stories were
Thank you.
wonderful.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Oh, and
We want to
Patricia, I'm
hear
so
more
glad you got on.
stories.
Yes, very lovely.
Can't imagine
Thank
which one
you
it
for
is.
buying
Look.
Luke the ponies because
Yeah.
she said she was like
I really wasn't going to tell anybody. Oh my.
Love it,
Now
Kevin.
everybody knows.
I know.
That's great. That's a great
Were they
story.
Miller or what kind of ponies were they? Rolling Rock?
Just no, no, it was light. It was light ponies. And anyway, just a glass of beer. And I thought, no, I'm not telling anybody. I'm the one that caused them to fall.
love it.
That's good.
So great.
Thank you.
But I have all 6 ponies.
It would have been all right if she'd have drank them and that's what made her fall. She'd have been happy. So it's okay.
I was so glad when Sophie was cleaning.
Lori, I lost my face. What happened here?
I don't know. You got to turn on your start video. Hi, Shar.
Video is
Lord.
Yeah.
Thank you, someone.
Rosalind.
Oh, there it was. Start video.
Oh,
there we
are.
are. Now you learn
Thank you.
something. Now you learn something new. Yeah.
Now we know about
Forget
the
it now.
troublemakers and what they look
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Lori, can you unmute Lauren and Mary?
Mary Pancardi.
I can ask them to, but I can't actually, I can only mute you. It's like a lot
Oh,
of.
because I bet
there,
they have
Lauren.
stories to tell.
Lauren, can you have your video on?
Hello?
There you go.
Lauren, can you talk?
Oh, where'd she go? Oh, there she is.
Pat, I'm glad you got on.
Yes.
Because I know how much you were important.
Yeah.
Lauren,
You're not unmuted, Pat.
Pat, you have to unmute your phone.
We can't hear you.
Unmute.
I think it's
Now
start.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no, we just had such wonderful times together. And like I said, going from one part,
One to the
"Patricia,
other."
she said, what can you do with this place? And I said, oh, don't worry, I'll make it beautiful. And then they'd move her again and we'd say, oh, Patricia, she said, am I going to be able to stay here? And I said, oh, we'll make it better. Don't worry. And then they moved her to the broom closet. And then we went, oh my gosh, I said, sister, you can't even hardly turn around in here. And she's like, I know. I said, it's a good thing you can't see too well. And then
Pat,
we
you
moved
did
her-
a good job of that. Oh,
Kevin,
you
it's
really.
so nice to see you. Kevin,
Yeah.
it's so nice to see you in person.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and that's the
Yeah.
other thing we can't see. I couldn't come see her. And it's
Yeah,
just,
we know.
Yeah.
We've had that
Was-
same experience.
yeah.
Oh,
We used to
and,
eat in the. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
We used to eat in the dining room all the time, and then we'd eat in the bistro all the time, and at least we get to see each other and chat and have a good time. And
She was.
then I couldn't even come and see her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent her the thing, but then she emailed me back and thanked me for sending her the thing, and then something happened. I sent her the thing, but I really was afraid.
So
Beards
Patricia,
made her cry.
it's Linda, and I'll make sure I'll call Lori True about that. You're planning to come to the funeral. Is that
Absolutely?
Or
Absolutely.
she'll write her name down now.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Good.
So I was just thinking when Mike was talking, I think it was Mike. Did anybody talk to Bill Fassard? Does he know? Bill Fassard was.
No.
I called Pat. I called Joe Fox to tell him.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
Okay.
good.
And I
I
did. talk
did
to-
the day she died, and I'm sure he'll pass it on to Bill, but I will check on that.
Great,
I'll
because
call.
I did talk to Father Pat today, by the way.
Oh,
I talked to
good,
Father
good.
Patrick Kennedy because I used to get him
yeah.
over and have lunch with us Sister
Yeah.
Luke. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
talked to him, but I know Bill Fassard would want to know.
Oh,
Yes.
Time
I'm
to
glad
go
you
to
thought of that.
sleep. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's on my
Yeah.
lap and then I got too noisy for her. So
And she always going on the screen, going back
I
and forth.
sure was glad to get those those ponies today.
Ponies,
Glad she
honest
came
to
in.
goodness.
I'm so
Kevin.
glad you got him
Yeah.
back, Kevin.
I
Now-
am too. I wasn't gonna confess until I'm the one that made her
That's
fall.
so
Now-
You still have them? Yes, I just
my
got them
gosh.
today.
Oh,
I just got them today. We only got them today.
We'll have to have a party, ladies.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Kevin, order a pizza, otherwise we'll all eat them alone.
Right,
I don't
yeah.
want you drinking
down.
alone.
Oh my.
Yeah, I think they could go on the back of chapel before the
Yeah.
funeral.
Yeah, we
Right,
should
right,
carry it up
right,
with the
right.
communion stuff. Yeah.
COVID,
Oh,
No, we-
that was so nice of you all to put this together.
Yeah. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yes, thank
Lori's
you.
the genius
you,
behind
Lori.
all these.
Girl, I don't know about
And
that.
Kathleen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end our meeting. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Linda.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Linda.